Now we can easily go in. Fuck, I still got in danger for this shit. Toaster.
I bet no one has ever been as unnoticed as me.
Attention visitors! Combat experiment in progress. Please put on your goggles and take your Radex now. The X-42 giant robo-scorpion is alive! Awaken my pet! Initiate your search and destroy protocol in the name of all that is Mobius! Oh, it looks like the target drones got activated and rush them with your pincers! They're engaging the X-42 giant robo-scorpion. Let's see the shrapnel fly. This is a pre-recorded attack message indicating my desire to commit violence on you.
I think I should try to use this. Woo! Let's go.
Fighting.
Wait, he's still alive? What? Now he's dead. Jeez.
Fighting over.
Lovely, lovely. Big kid, huh? Okay. I hate it when I can't enter. Mobius Robo Scorpio. Ah, yes, there he is.
Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my... You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing... a little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, your right FOV cone?
Is that better?
Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. Would you care?
I'll save it for later.
I have all sorts of amazingly science-terrific thoughts and ideas when... I forget them all not long after, though. Especially with the data constipating my memory. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations. guy's preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? After all, it might be worth a...
I need my brain back. What did this unit brain?
Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. Anomaly? You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever. If you were to go back with what your brain knows, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here.
I need my brain back.
Do you? And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should... Tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain.
I was curious about some things.
Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can... Please be my guest. If the receptor is there... Oh, yes.
Can you tell me about your robo-scorpions?
Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after... How scary, I thought. But they have survived when nothing else... Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I made them bigger. Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard?
You don't seem aggressive. Why broadcast threats to the think tank?
Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take Mentat, as for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose. Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them. You and your brain are quite alike.
Your plan, your name, Mobius.
Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name, and my this name's as real as you or I. Although someone's been watching too many old world science fiction. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is. Like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop in our perception.
You reprogram their names as part of the recursion loop. What, to trap their processors?
Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like but yes, I did take some liberty. I certainly didn't until you said...
Why did you trap them?
The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. I suspect I have Plan C's in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them, just in case. Probably very... So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan Bs, in case the A...
Plan, Mobius, O is a circle, H's an infinity symbol, they're all loops, I get it.
Oh, you think Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. They have all forgotten themselves, and not only themselves, but the world, sense of time and history. All that is left... I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world. Here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway.
Minor detail, but a snake devouring its own tail is Ouroboros, not Ouroboros. I can't, what?
Really? It is so
Why terrorize them?
Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply Then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle.
The bullet that went into my brain. Dr. Mitchell tried to patch me up, but
Yes, very good. I should have... In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case. But it was enough for the auto dock in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess.
what?
With that knowledge, the procedure, if they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial cell and
So if I don't get my brain back in my head, I can't leave ever?
I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear, and it prompted them to focus on and coincidentally, pardon my language, the X2 antenna can be used to focus your and the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was, in short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was they had them all the time in the story. Yes, my overly aggressive camera brought... Oh, and the kid... But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're... well... Oh, that means my planet... Yes, this is getting interesting. Indeed,
We should definitely kill him. He stole my brain.
Having the most... Oh, intriguing. I've never been killed before. Well, if there's going to be killing, how should we begin? Engineering viruses?
What minions?
Whoa, have they not constructed themselves yet? They can assemble themselves from floor panels and parts. Minions, destroy.
Time to fight.
Attacking with a capital G.
Oh well. Bird sausage.
We're out of stim packs. Maybe you'd be better off with an autoduck suit. I can't give you anything for that injury. Cessation of hostilities complete.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been? Crawling?
You, my brain?
Ah, lovely.
Why are you such a dick?
Yes, well, believe me, the opposite is equally true. Good Lord, have you... Well, I see sarcasm hasn't eluded you. Fine. Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, a, quote, dick, unquote, as if I'm the one responsible. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on mission. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoy...
Come on, that's the son.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic, and all those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that right glands. They come from glands.
What?
Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how...
They're the source of most of the gland. Unless you're arguing that my thyroid is to blame.
Well, look, it's all a very complex system of...
Admit it, you're just as glandular as I am.
Oh, alright.
Don't you want to be rounded? I thought you'd be happy to get back into my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is... Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly and... Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
What about the cold rays on your cheek? The smell of food, love?
Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat oozing home.
Isn't it just as true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
I suppose you're right.
So we're at an impasse. You can't feel what I feel, and I can't think the way you think.
Indeed, quite the conundrum.
I think we have to trust each other and acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're separated.
I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create...
So what do you say, Bray? Join me for some more wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Why? They promised to put us back together once I did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be them. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
You're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do.
Well, I I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we say...
As the think tank won't hold up their bargain, we'll make them. Let's go.
Right! Look out, think tank! This brain is coming up! I suppose now that we're reunited, you want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the sync's off. Right then, off we go. Clyde will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification feat.
Your brain added, huh? Use sync autodock to retrieve your original heart. Nice.
The lobotomized return. I recommend. And we have some.
Maybe I should confer with the colleagues first.
Nonsense. Confer.
Dr. Klein, I must...
I'm not going to harm it. I'm going to...
I cannot stand a sweet breathing organism breathing in and out, just suddenly...
Gala, these vocalized pauses are...
Fine. Are you sure we've calculated all the... Plus, you know, we haven't had a C...
Releasing... Why are you acting like this? You've never refused to commit necessary surgery. A noble speech, but there's no room in my vocabulators for... Perhaps you are irradiated with camaraderie radiation. We have chems for that. Why am I even listening to you fools? The determinators are greater than the hesitators. We are bigger, smarter, and floatier than you.
I think you're tasked to for your lobotomy, Klein.
Fuck.
This one looks pretty tough.
I am so going to attack this target with my...
Leave the think tank.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discovery safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be dangerous.
The Forbidden Zone continued to be, true to its name, forbidden. No more robo-scorpions were sighted in its canyons. Big Mountain became even emptier, devoid of Dr. Mobius's proclamations forecasting the destruction of anything that dared possess sentience. Still, it is said he lived on in the equations inscribed on the floor and walls of the Forbidden Zone dome. A cobweb tracery of symbols that told of 1,000 brilliant thoughts, now lost to time.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The biological research station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paper. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magnetohydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the big empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other sink personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Haig's village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy, except he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind-eyed old Jefferson eventually discovered a new sound. Silence. It only made him more filled with the blues than before. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
Oh, shit.
As the courier made his way through the X-8 facility, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. They eventually created new cyberdons to root out commie traitors from the wasteland. Traitors like Betsy Bright, Richie Marcus. Although they couldn't seem to find any comets, so they turned on themselves, howling sonic barks that echoed miles across the landscape.
The infiltration program in X-13 continued to scan for the subject and the stealth suit prototype long after the test was over. Frustrated and unable to find its lost technology, X-13 expanded its network of laser tripwires, sensors, and robo-brains out across Big Mountain. This glittering blue light beam forest cleanly bisected anything that could hit its depths, slicing them into small segmented parts for easy disposal.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
The think tank basement, filled with the lobotomized robotical frames of the doctors, now served as a graveyard. The monitors had recorded the battle in its entirety, including the think tank's final, shrill, terrified screams, whimpers, and pleas for mercy. They broadcast these humiliating last moments as a warning to anyone approaching the perimeter that other smarty pants were not welcome. The courier was the inheritor of the Big Empty, and there was room for only one will in the halls of the think tank dome.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, or what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
You've lost the brainless part, yes. Big brained! Yes, my brain is back in my body. So yeah, that's it for now. We'll play more later.